My parents can't be spies. They're not cool enough. We are the Spy-Fi guys, and this is Spy Kids. Welcome to the Spy-Fi guys, where we cover spy facts, spy fiction, and everything in between. I'm Christian.
And I'm Zach. Welcome back.
And today we have a special guest.
Hello, I'm Alanna from Tuesday Night Gaming.
Yes, my sister and fellow podcaster Alanna is joining us and requested that we do this movie Spy Kid. It was not on our radar, but considering we've been doing a lot of depressing subject matter lately, we thought we'd mix it up with a movie that defined a generation, specifically the late 90s generation.
I define the generation as a bit definitory for this movie.
Well, it certainly is a franchise that people know and will recognize the name of, and will think of when they think of spies.
Well, I think so. The craziest thing about this movie is that the Machete movies are actually a spin-off of this.
You know, it makes perfect sense, actually, because the director, Robert Rodriguez, was an action movie director before he did Spy Kids.
Yeah, this whole movie is it's really interesting. As soon as I saw Robert Rodriguez's name, like before even the title, I was like, oh boy, I didn't know this was like made by legitimate action people.
The movie itself is not very actiony, I didn't think.
No, it's not. I have some comments on that, I guess, later.
Okay, so we'll jump right into the movie, and I can read you guys the IMDb synopsis, which is very short. It is the following. The children of secret agent parents must save them from danger. That's
the synopsis?
That's the synopsis.
Yep. Wow, that skipped a lot of things.
Yeah.
So the premise of this movie that Christian kind of touched on in our intro is similar to that of the Marvel comic book and TV show Runaways, which, if you're not familiar with it, the original idea by the author was every kid thinks their parents are evil, but what if their parents actually were? That's the premise of Runaways. But then in this one, it's like every kid thinks their parents are just so boring, and what if they weren't? In this case, what if they were?
Definitely they touch on that. But these kids, I think the movie should have showed us more that Antonio Banderas and Carla Gugino were more boring. Because they live in this awesome house on a cliff. Yeah, that house was sick. And their parents have these like awesome setups and chairs that roll back and forth.
But they don't know their parents have that.
Well, maybe. Even so, they have a sick house, a sick car. And they think their parents are super lame. They should have showed us. I don't know, some more.
Well, they did. We just have to get to it. Okay. Just be patient, and but remember that we talked about it, so we'll get there. Okay. Anything you guys want to talk about before we just jump into our plot? We just go through the movie.
Alan Cumming carried this movie.
Okay. So the opening is extremely Bond reminiscent. The whole movie. The opening especially so. You get the music, you get the helicopter shot along a coastline. Mm-hmm. Which leads to our first question. Christian, where do you think this movie was set?
I have no idea, actually.
Mexico.
Alanna and I think Mexico.
Really? You think he's a Mexican that Antonio Banderas was a Mexican agent, or that they just live in Mexico?
Well, it's not that Antonio Banderas is a Mexican agent, because you're not going to live in the country where you're from if you're on the run from your own intelligence service, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that gets me. Is like, so they worked for separate intelligence agencies, but we're never told specifically which ones.
That's right.
So we don't know whether they're both on the run from their own intelligence agencies and ended up working for the U.S., or if they worked. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's designed to be not non-political. They just call them international spies. So we zoom in on the house where the brother character, Junie, is dealing with warts on his fingers.
Mm-hmm. Yuck.
Which is a recurring theme throughout the movie.
I just never had warts as a kid on my fingers. I didn't know that I was like, why and how do you get warts? I was like, was he just touching a lot of frogs? Was it what?
Okay, so I actually did have a couple warts as a kid. Ew, gross. Now it's recorded forever. But they weren't caused by stress. It's like genetics.
Ah.
Yeah.
I think I had like one when I
yeah.
was a kid as
They
well.
would like appear on your fingers. I had one that like I used like I get like a callus when I was holding a pencil in school and it like appeared there. Yeah. I don't know. You just like pour stuff on it. I guess I had band-aids like he did.
But he has warts like all over his hands. So it looked like Rorschach from that one part in Watchmen.
Clearly they're trying to imply it's like stress induced in this movie.
Yeah.
So and then the mom tells Carmen Cortez a spy love story before they go to bed, which is very clearly how her and Antonio Banderas, who plays the dad, met and got together.
That whole sequence was great.
I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot, especially like all the different like the gadgets of the gum, and then I also just like the what's her name? What's the mom's name? Ingrid. Her quick changes. She had a lot of good quick changes.
Like changing her hair.
Changing her hair. She flipped her jacket inside out to have a different color jacket, which I always love that.
Yeah, Antonio, as far as spy gadgets go in this movie, it's very grounded.
What?
Antonio Banderas looked like a Matrix character with his long coat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's Alanna kept commenting how the clothing in this movie dates it very much to the 90s.
Yeah.
And this is one example about how long leather coats were like the epitome of cool.
Wait, you're telling me they aren't? Do I need to change my wardrobe?
So another thing I noticed in this, sorry, Alanna, you're going to say something?
Okay. No, go ahead.
Well, there's a part where she was like the woman spy had a mission to take him out. Mm-hmm. And Carmen says, "You mean like take him out on a date?" And she's like, "No, I mean kill him." And that same joke was used almost 15 years later in The Interview, starring Seth Rogen and what's his name? The other guy,
James Franco.
James Franco, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you go and watch the trailer, they're like, "We want you to take out Kim Jong-il," and they're like, "Oh, you mean like take him out on the town?" I'm not saying they ripped off Spy Kids.
But
I mean, I wouldn't put him past that.
What I was thinking when Christian was talking about the disguises, that this is the first time where you have a tiny mustache being a disguise, which is repeated many times throughout this movie.
Yeah. It never fails.
I enjoy that. Yeah.
And then the last thing I have is... Sorry?
No, as someone who's currently growing a telework mustache right now, I appreciate all the mustaches.
Well, there are a lot of them, so I'm glad that somebody appreciated them, that they made it for. And then the last thing I had is in their wedding gets attacked by like 8 black helicopters.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Again, unclear who these helicopters are from or who exactly would be attacking them, but...
Well, didn't they go rogue? Didn't they like say we're not going to work for our old spy agencies anymore?
That's kind of unclear. It just said that they're going to get married, not that they were necessarily quitting the game.
Well, she had a mission to take him out, and she didn't accomplish her mission, so...
And neither did he. Well,
right.
It's implied, but it's never explicitly said.
Okay.
But I did like in that part where when they base jump off of the cliff out of their wedding, and they have heart parachutes, and then they escape in a speedboat that says "just married."
Yep.
I thought you'd like that.
Yeah, like they knew that was going to happen. Did feel very James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the real world, we have Antonio Banderas working, and he's wearing this sweater that looks like it's something out of the Cosby Show.
I'm pretty sure our dad had a sweater.
See, that's just trying to hammer in that he's just an ordinary dad now.
Yeah, so they've got these awesome spy stations, and his is like a normal desk for manly men, and hers is like a vanity full of makeup. Gag. Come on, movie.
But she does have a chair that's like on railroad tracks that will like slide across the room. So that's not
those tracks which only appear when they're in motion, otherwise they just disappear.
Yeah.
Nice. The next scene is the 2 kids are doing physical training, which I guess explains how they can do their spy stuff later. Junie slides off of a what is that?
Monkey bars?
Off of monkey bars, right? Yeah. Because of his warts. His sister makes fun of him, and then he throws a weight at her. Like a dumbbell.
Oh yeah, that was really violent. Yeah. Got really hurt.
Junie is obsessed with the show Fooglies.
Something.
Fooglies.
Yeah. Which stars, wait, what's his name? Now I'm forgetting.
Alan Cumming. The Incredible Nightcrawler.
Mm-hmm. Also in GoldenEye.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, and it's this weird like kid show with like this weird. I don't know how would you describe his Fooglies? Like mutated things.
I said they look like Power Rangers villains crossed with Fraggle Rock.
That's pretty good. I like that. Good. Okay. But and earlier when Ingrid and Gregorio were talking at their like secret stations, Gregorio noticed that or had like found a report that these agents were going missing, and it was like the most recent one, Donegan, and he compared a photo of Donegan to the newest Foogly who showed up on the show, and is like, they look pretty similar, so maybe, yeah.
It's like, how would you to do that?
Right? I don't know.
So, but I also noticed in the car scene, they have the show on while they're in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this was before they had you had TVs in cars. But it's like, you don't like your kid watching the show.
We had TVs in cars at that point.
Yeah, not us.
I didn't have it, but they existed.
But the technology existed?
Only like the coolest parents had TVs in their cars.
I didn't have one.
Cortezes were cool.
Mm-hmm.
Despite what
they're not cool enough to be spies.
I also found that the bickering between the kids in the car and like earlier when they're doing like, throwing weights aside, their bickering is pretty realistic.
Yeah, I thought that. I have a younger sibling, and the bickering sounded authentic.
Yeah.
Well, I don't watch a lot of kid-related movies anymore, obviously, but I feel like kids in movies are generally too mature.
Yeah.
And it was refreshing seeing kids who actually acted like kids.
Yeah.
Or were written like kids.
Yeah.
And the other thing that comes up here that'll come up later is that Junie can mimic voices pretty well.
Oh, is that what he was doing later?
Mm-hmm.
That was so unclear.
This movie's brilliant, Alanna. It's like every little thing gets planned and then it comes back later.
Robert Rodriguez, this is your masterpiece.
Yep. So yeah, once they get dropped off, there's the kid bullying Junie, and then you see Gregorio gets out of the car. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to put a stop to this." And then, of course, the dad of the bully is also a bully, and also like giant. If like how tall is Antonio Banderas? He's not a short guy.
Let's find out. You already ruined my belief that Tom Cruise is short. Let's take away Antonio Banderas' height for me too. Height. He is 5'9".
Oh, okay. So he's not okay. He's not short, but he's not like 6 foot something.
Gigantic either.
Yeah, he's like average height. Okay, so then but still that like the height difference between him and the dad of the bully is significant. So he must have been a pretty tall guy.
Yeah, or they could have used a camera trick, but it's really not necessary in this case.
Yep.
So Junie has this fantasy where his dad.
No.
Banderas.
No.
Gregorio's. Yeah.
Oh, that was his fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So he fantasizes throwing the guy like a cartoon, throwing him through a window, and all the kids like cheer.
Mm-hmm.
But he of course doesn't do anything, and that, Alanna, is what made me think when you were like, the parents aren't lame enough.
That was kind of lame. You're
right.
true. That's true. It's like he needs like a power fantasy to like come back. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, well, the thing is that he definitely could have done that, but he's like, no, we need to keep our cover.
Could he though? Because we don't actually see him fight later in the movie.
Well, we don't see them fight, but it's implied that they're really good at fighting.
Honestly, and we could get to this also later, I think they're not that good at spies. They get caught a lot, and they tell us that they're super spies, but they seem kind of incompetent. They don't even realize Terry Hatcher.
Well, they also say they've been out of the game for a while.
That's true, 7 years, but we'll get to that.
Okay, so also in the scene at school, they're not at school for very long, but there's a scene where Carmen is like, "Oh my god, my brother's so annoying. He
I
doesn't
don't
have
want to
any
be
friends."
responsible for him.
Yeah,
What was it? What's the lines like? Be responsible for Junie, teach Junie right from wrong,
right.
which is echoed later on.
Mhm.
Oh, I saw on IMDb that I guess she's supposed to be 12 and he's
Yeah.
supposed to be 9.
Okay.
I wasn't really sure how old she was.
It was a little unclear.
Yeah. But 12 seems really young to be ditching school and like running around the city.
And going to Belize.
Yeah.
Well, that helps us identify where the movie's taking
That's
place.
true. Yeah, that makes
It's not
sense.
taking place in Canada.
No, I always assumed like Southern California or something.
No, there are billboards in Spanish.
That's
It's-
true.
There are Spanish speakers in Southern California.
Yeah, but
Well, it was filmed in Texas. We watched the credits
all right.
very
Oh, yeah,
carefully.
yeah, there's a scene after
Okay.
the credits. Did you know?
What?
Yeah.
It was
All right.
pointless.
Well, let's talk about there. Talk about when we get there. Yeah.
Okay, so then we cut to Floop's lair, and now the all-star cast shows up. We've got Alan Cumming, we've got Tony Shaloub, we've got Robert Patrick. It's like bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
Hold up. Mr. Lisp was Robert Patrick.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow. If he's not in Terminator mode, I do not recognize him.
He's great. Well, Alanna and I know him from the later series of The X-Files after David Duchovny leaves.
Okay. So Mr. Lisp, as we stated, is played by Robert Patrick, and his like army of goons is paying Floop to make them, an invincible army.
Mhm.
But instead, they get the Fooglies and Thumb Thumbs, who I just love the Thumb Thumbs. I think they're ridiculous. Why would you make a robot that's just all thumbs?
I want to know how many drugs someone was on when they came up with that.
Okay, apparently I saw this on IMDb too. Apparently Robert Rodriguez drew a drawing of it as a kid. That's where the idea came.
Okay.
Also, they really just wanted to make that all thumbs joke.
It's a good joke.
I mean, and also, remind me about this later. There's a great joke once they're captured with the thumbs.
Also about thumbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Floop is introducing his new project, which is robot kids who are super strong and can really, and also can look like anyone. But unfortunately, they're missing something. They are missing their brains.
They can't talk. Which honestly didn't seem like a big problem if you just wanted the kid to assassinate their parent.
Well,
You know?
it's like you're 90% of the way there, but as Robert Patrick pointed out, they can't pose as children if they can't talk.
Yeah.
They just run in, stab, run out.
It's like they don't even really need to infiltrate, because we see later on that they can just fight everybody, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, but depends on if you're doing a covert mission, if you're just doing complete,
Right. If you're going to do surveillance with the kids, they probably need to talk.
Mhm.
So, Christian, did you notice in this scene that Tony Shaloub, aka Minion, is dressed like Dr. No?
And all the
I
scenes.
did get a bit of a vibe of like Dr. No, Dr. Evil kind of, like with the Nehru collar and everything. Yep.
Okay, just checking. So the parents are playing their mission, and this reminds me of The Incredibles.
Yeah.
I never
The
get. I
Incredibles.
didn't think about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
They took everything from this movie. Everything.
When did The Incredibles come out?
2004.
Okay, all right, yeah. So definitely.
But likely they were already making The Incredibles
Oh, yeah,
when this
no.
movie came out. Because it takes like a million years to make an animated movie.
But I
Yeah,
just mean specifically about how the mom is like, I want to come with you, and the dad's like, no, and she's like, but I'm bored being a mom, and he's like, well, I'm bored being a dad.
But unlike in The Incredibles, the mom goes with him.
Eventually, they both leave. They talk to Terry Hatcher about their mission while
they
they're
also
driving.
The uncle comes.
Yeah.
The uncle.
Uncle Felix.
Yeah, to come babysit the kids.
Right.
Yeah. They get in their
Who
little
has a-
car that turns into a boat.
After they drive off a cliff, hope nobody saw them drive off a cliff.
Yeah.
Except it immediately gets swallowed by this enormous submarine. Like, enormous.
Yeah. That never comes back. That thing was huge.
Mm-hmm.
I guess not all the breadcrumbs come back.
Yeah, so like immediately caught by the bad guy. Okay, so I saw this movie like when it came out when I was like 9. And I for some reason I remember liking the part where the kids are like running around the house and it's like opening like secret doors and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't as mind blowing as an adult. But yeah, the Uncle Felix is like, psych, takes off mustache. I'm not your uncle. Again, mustache is the only disguise you need. They find the panic room. They get these huge backpacks full of stuff. They get attacked by thumbs that are like in like disguise.
I mean, they're still clearly so recognizable.
Yeah.
And Felix does a really good job fighting them. He fights like 4 of them at the same time.
Yeah. And then the kids manage to escape through funny means. Mm-hmm. You know, the brother almost kills sister. Ha ha ha. Hilarity ensues.
They escape on a boat and the brother almost falls off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Exactly like the part where after they kind of settle into the thing, so Carmen immediately falls asleep.
I'm like, it's the morning. They just woke up. Also, this part reminded me of Star Wars Episode 1 where they go on the Bunta through the planet core.
They also wear...
Wow, I would not have thought of that. Oh, the Bunta is the name of the pod race. You're thinking of the... What is it?
Star Wars trivia question. A bongo.
Hold on.
Yes. Something like that.
What are you talking about?
Oof. Oh man, I can't think of it.
Come on, in episode 1, when they go through the planet core, they're like, "We'll spare you a bongo." I mean, not a bongo.
Something like that.
No. I don't think it's a bongo.
Is that like it's always a bigger fish?
Yep.
Yeah, this is where it's always a bigger fish. But then this little submarine is awesome. It has toilets, it has microwaves, it has all kinds of cool stuff.
It has a little place to sleep that isn't where the sister was sleeping. It's like a smaller part.
Yeah.
Yeah. They also they get in the thing, the top opens, and suddenly they're wearing life jackets. And then they come back down and they're not wearing life jackets anymore.
It's like the bat pole from Batman 66.
Yeah.
Okay, so they get to the safe house. Mm-hmm. Carmen says her really long name in order to get in.
Yep. And it's pretty dope. Dope safe house.
Yep.
It's bigger on the inside.
Yeah. It has a lot of machete stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So also like Batman 66, everything has a label on it that says Machete made it. We also get some blatant McDonald's product placement.
Yeah. And the rehydrator.
Mm-hmm.
It's also from Batman.
Yeah.
From the movie, yeah.
Yeah, but they're not there very long before Terry Hatcher and some very cool looking 90s spy men come in.
With leather jackets and sunglasses.
And the same haircut on all of them. Yeah, they look like Smash Mouth.
Oh.
Yeah. Totally.
Specifically the lead singer, but once she says it, I totally could see it. And then, so just before they arrive, we also have a brief cut where the parents do their first escape from Floop's lair.
So Ingrid has this nice laser diamond ring.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as they're going through, there's a trap door, puzzle piece that falls away. Gregorio, runs across it and jumps, and apparently there's glass on the floor, so they didn't actually need to jump.
Which is what? It's so strange. But actually, they explain it because then they go to the virtual room.
Psychological.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone goes into the virtual room. It's why does that seem like a good idea?
Because it sounds cool. And so the virtual room's like a holodeck, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just skip your plan about world domination, just sell that to everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
It seems like a better way to make money.
Yeah. And then in the virtual room, they fall through a trap door into the dining room where Floop is waiting and, says, with your reputations, I expect you guys to come faster than that.
Nice.
Yeah. And in both this scene and the one earlier, it's becoming more and more clear to the audience that Minion is actually in charge and Floop is just his mouthpiece, more interested in his kids' show than selling his army to Robert Patrick.
So this is where the other thumb joke was. Gloria's about to attack Floop, and he said, "Nope, I snap my fingers, and my fingers snap you."
See, that actually came off as pretty threatening to me.
That's a good joke.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's good.
It's a joke, but it's also a viable threat. Sorry, what was that question?
I said, "Are thumbs actually fingers?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there used to be debate on that.
Are they digits?
Are thumbs fingers?
What does the internet say?
Our thumbs, yes.
Okay, all right.
Good. I'm glad we established that.
In fact, fingers are numbered, and the thumb is number 1.
What?
Says who? I didn't agree to that.
An anatomy book.
Oh.
I mean,
what do they know?
Do like the Europeans that the German style counting 1, 2, 3 as seen in Glorious Bastards. And yeah,
Alanna and I just went to Germany and we had opportunities to do that, but I didn't think of it.
I did when I was in Vienna. I did that.
What did anybody react?
No. Well, I know I did the European style counting.
Okay, I was going to try to ask people questions where I knew the answer would be 3 to see if they would do it, but then I forgot.
Wouldn't they just tell you 3 as opposed to using their hands?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a great plan.
So what we find out here is that all of the captured agents were part of a research team to create an artificial brain with a compendium of spy knowledge, and Gregorio was part of this, but he, reveal anything about the brain. And we find that Uncle Felix, when he got captured, they transformed him into a Fugly as well.
It's pretty kind of dark.
Yeah, right? And we don't know at this point whether they can be changed back or not. So that's like, whoa, that seems drastic.
Yeah.
I never had any doubt that it would be fine. I mean, it is a kid's movie.
True.
Yeah.
So Terry Hatcher shows up. She knows all about Floop, what's going on. She wants the third brain, and then is revealed to be a bad guy. So there's a conspiracy within the OSS that's aligned with Floop. Because the parents trusted her. She was their boss.
Yeah. No, she wasn't their boss. She was like a Moneypenny style person who was just giving information.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
But the point is, Floop has infiltrated their society.
Mm-hmm.
So the kids escape with the use of jetpacks.
Called a buddy pack.
Right. That can inexplicably fly through like mental commands, I guess, since there doesn't seem to be any kind of control
that
system.
thing? There's no way.
There's no Rocketeer helmet with a fin on it.
No.
Yeah.
When Junie is trying to use one, he accidentally burns off, Terry Hatcher's hair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is kind of scary, but she doesn't seem too bothered by it.
No, not really.
The jetpack chase was really good, if very green screened.
Yeah. It was
There's a lot of green
green
screens
screen.
in this movie.
Yeah. Junie's inability to hold on to monkey bars comes back. He gets dropped by, or like, it's like she doesn't even drop him. He just sort of like wiggles himself out to fall.
Well, he couldn't hold on.
Yeah.
Because he has sweaty hands, and that's why he has warts.
Yeah. But then the kids do some real life spy stuff when they change their outfits in the department store, and they get on the trolley and pretend to have new parents.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman who they just sort of attach themselves to, like, doesn't react at all. She's like, "Oh, hi there, kid." It's like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, if some random kid comes up to you and just puts their arm in yours, like, you're not gonna be like, "Who the hell are you, kid?"
Well, maybe not in Mexico.
It was a more innocent time back then, I think. Alanna, you also had an observation about the people in the department store here.
Oh yeah, like Carmen busts in on a jetpack and no, they don't react at all. And then the thumbs come in on jetpacks and they don't look up. They're just like keep chopping. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, it was CGI. They had a shot of people in a department store and then they overlaid.
Yeah, but they could have had people like running away
or something. Yeah.
I know. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying that's probably why it happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so we get a brief scene back in the lair. The robot kids are revealed that they have like an army of them.
Mm-hmm. And they specifically have Junie and Carmen robots.
Yes, which they're going to send out. You use a kid to catch a kid.
Yeah.
Right.
And at this time,
Minion's logic.
We also find, Floop sort of, we have basically his whole entire opening credit sequence filmed in the virtual room. And he's like, no, something's missing. I don't know what, but something's missing here.
And then, we see that's part of what Alanna said earlier about how he really cares more about the show than he does his plotting.
Yep. Even though Minion tries to like refocus him, he's like, no, it's #1 syndicated. It's more important.
There was a random like syndication joke in there before, which was like, syndication's not really a big thing anymore, is it? Like, that's not the goal of TV shows.
I don't know, because a lot of the CW shows really make a big deal of their 100th episode, which is when they can start
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, but come on, it's moving towards streaming now. The CW shows are they're like a relic of a bygone era, kind of like a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Okay, so the kids are in a park when they...
Yeah, they're hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, and they have an argument, and then they kind of go their separate ways temporarily.
Yeah, and also their
like
gadgets are all malfunctioning too, and they've like figured to like who makes these things, and looks at the back and another fine machete product.
Yeah, so their robot counterparts show up. They don't really fool the kids for very long.
No.
Though I do like when Carmen says to the double, "Why are you dressed like a geek?" It's like you could have at least asked them to change their clothes before you sent the robot kids out on the mission.
Nah, they don't think of that stuff.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I feel like even though Floop's the head of or a star of a kid show, I feel like he doesn't know much about kids.
No, I don't think any of them do.
That's almost like that's the point of the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Robot Carmen goes after Junie on like what is it, a merry-go-round? But it's not a merry-go-round.
That's what it's a old-fashioned merry-go-round is what it is.
Oh, okay.
I think that is the actual term for it, but it's not like a carousel would be what we think of when we think of a merry-go-round. But yeah,
I don't know. They make you like vomit.
Well, this one goes impossibly fast.
Super strong robot spinning it.
And I like how after Junie gets off, all these kids rush towards because I want to go that fast too.
It's like, yeah, kid, get a robot. See, here's how you make money. You just make awesome playground equipment that breaks the laws of physics. So then we also get a scene where Antonio Banderas explains to his wife the deal with the third brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't know about it. Spies keeping lies secret.
That's what spies do.
Yep.
And we kind of skipped over the fact that the third brain was actually in the safe house.
Terry Hatcher gets it.
Oh yeah, it's like who cares? It's the MacGuffin.
It's the MacGuffin. It's kind of important.
Yeah. Also, doesn't he say that Minion was working on the project too?
Yeah. So Minion will also. Alexander Minion is his full name, and he was working on the project as well. But he was trying to, put some of his own thoughts and ideas into the project, which would influence it towards evil.
Yeah.
Because having Minion as your last name isn't any sort of indicator that you might be a bad guy in a spy movie.
I do like how this movie predated the Minions, like the movie and the cultural phenomenon.
That's lucky.
With the flashback, Antonio Banderas is not only a spy; he's also a scientist, complete with a lab coat. He explains the third brain is like this really advanced AI, whatever. But then when they destroy it, he's ordered to destroy it. So he takes out this tiny little hammer and starts like hitting it with it.
But not only does he not destroy it, he has a perfectly sized walnut to use instead.
Is that what I missed? That it was a walnut. That's hilarious.
And he just happened to have it in his pocket.
Yeah.
Well, he clearly planned this beforehand. It's not like in the heat of the moment he decided he wasn't going to destroy it.
I guess he is a competent spy who would have walnuts just in case.
So the kids go to Machete's spy shop.
Oh, no, they take a cab there.
Oh, yeah.
Carmen gives the guy every type of currency that they took from the safe house.
It's probably like $5,000.
At least.
So they go into Machete's spy shop and they learn that he's a war profiteer.
I mean, if you want to say that, yeah.
Well, he literally says, I sell equipment to both sides, good and bad.
Yeah, Danny Trejo looks the same age here as he does when he's on The Flash like 20 years later.
He hasn't aged like since this movie, basically. So we also he shows off a bunch of gadgets, including the world's smallest camera. And we also find out that he is Gregorio's brother. So he's their uncle. He's
his older brother, right?
Yeah.
And his attitude towards Gregorio was very similar to Carmen's attitude towards Junie. Dun, dun, dun.
It all comes together. This movie's brilliant.
I also like there's a line, we're family. He's your brother. Cain and Abel were brothers. Look how they turned out.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure that one's for the children. That one might be for the adults.
Yeah.
Also, it's like that thing where, so he shows Carmen and Junie this spy plane. It's like, oh, this is the only thing they can get in there fast enough in time. But I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to show it to you.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was.
So yeah, he shows them the plane, and then he's like, "Oh, but you can't go, and I'm not going to let you go."
Mm-mm.
Yep.
Maybe it's like reverse psychology because they're kids.
Maybe.
Kids don't like being told what to do.
Yeah. Carmen
Yes,
tries to guilt trip him using their cuteness. It doesn't work.
So later that night, Junie and Carmen, get out of bed, steal a bunch of gadgets, and then steal the plane. And Junie is supposed to read all the instructions for the plane, but he probably doesn't.
Yeah, that was good teamwork by them, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's one joke I love, by the way.
Oh.
It's in spy movies, it's in sci-fi movies where they're like, "Here, learn it." And it's like this giant manual, and then the character inevitably goes like, "Forget it, I'll just figure it out," and they throw the manual away.
Yeah.
It never seems to get old for me. So they're on the plane, they start fighting, and they crash the plane. At one point, they go into a death spiral, but then they knock off the other wings, so then they don't.
And this is the second time that one of Machete's gadgets. I assume that the sub was also a Machete gadget, but it has apparently an issue with their autopilot, because that happened with the sub as well, or the boat. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We need to watch the Machete movies and see if he continues to maintain his spy shop in it. I have a feeling that he doesn't.
Also, here's where we find out. So I think it was the first time they got captured. The parents are just talking about how one of their kids is still in diapers,
Mm-hmm.
And only at night.
And the parent, you assume it's Junie, but we find out it's actually Carmen.
That was so strange. But it's like, I don't understand why they put it in the movie. I guess it's to show that Carmen has some kind of issues that she needs to get over too, just like her brother.
Maybe. Yeah.
As opposed to all Junie's multitudes of problems.
Yeah. At this point, we also see there's like an assembly line of third brains that look like they're just being, 3D printed, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And we see them all get installed into all of the robot kids.
Right. So they're going to be an unstoppable army.
Mm-hmm.
So
this whole factory that they have, it's like, so they make the third brains, they make the kids, they make the thumbs. It reminded me of Rise of Skywalker, making all those Star Destroyers.
Oh.
From somewhere.
I thought it was going to remind you of Attack of the Clones, where they're making all the droids.
Yeah, machines making machines.
Yeah.
So the kids drop out of their plane. They infiltrate the base using scuba gear. Alanna commented that Carmen's scuba gear is pink because she's a girl.
Yeah.
Did not notice that. I did notice that somehow they're talking with the scuba gear on, although the way that those things are usually set up, there's no way you could talk with them.
It's spy stuff.
I'll take your word for it.
It doesn't bother me. It's spy stuff.
One of Machete's gadgets to take out a thumb, the electroshock gumball, which I thought was pretty cool.
Except, do you have to chew it up before you use it?
That seems dangerous.
What if you need it to work and you don't have time to chew it up?
See, this is why the Mission Impossible spy gad of the exploding gum is better, because you just need to smush it. You don't need to chew it.
Mission Impossible definitely has the best gadgets, I think. Mostly because they don't always work very well.
Well, they also don't want them to explode people in a kid's movie.
That's true. That's why it's just electroshock. It's not exploding.
But I'm like, why don't they just throw it and have it electroshock? Whatever. Alanna also had a comment about the costumes here. This is why we take notes, Alanna, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. So then after they take off their scuba gear, the boy is wearing like a vest and a bow tie, which is strange. But the girl is wearing like a very like limited to outfit from like the 90s. Like everything she's wearing, she's got these black pants with like flowers embroidered on the bottom, and this like gradient shirt and the choker. It was like time capsule. Like,
did you have this outfit?
Yeah. Wait, did I have it? No. I might have had the pants. I probably had pants that were similar.
I think we all had gradient shirts in the 90s.
Yeah. I
seem to remember that.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Okay, so Alanna also made the observation here where Carmen is like the muscle and Junie is like the tech guy, and I was like spies in disguise. It's like spies in disguise.
Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, so Junie puts up a bunch of that was smart of Junie, putting up all those cameras so they can actually see all the hallways.
Yeah, they only use it one time.
Yeah, true, but they use it at an important time to see a bunch of thumbs coming, and they with all the fooglies. Junie uses his like harness to go slide down from the rooftop where they're hiding.
Oh yeah,
down, which I thought was cool.
yeah.
And
we were like, how did they
one of
not
the
notice that
Fooglies.
he's there?
Because no one ever looks up. No one looks up.
But they do get jumped by a bunch of thumbs. It doesn't work forever, which I appreciate. They run away, and then the floor falls, and this time it's not an illusion. It actually falls into a bottomless pit.
Yeah, so, okay, I like the setup, but that gag's only for the audience, because how would the kids know that the parents encountered that same thing, but it wasn't real?
Well, the kids, they don't have like a 1 hour memory? They don't remember that from earlier in the movie?
No, I'm saying it's for the audience, but not for Junie and Carmen. Like, it's a gag that they wouldn't get. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, the characters in a comedy movie aren't supposed to get the joke. That's why it's not funny. But I did make an observation here. So Carmen falls into a bottomless pit, and she yells while she falls, "Find mom and dad!" Not like, holy shit, I'm gonna die. We have a confrontation between Minion, who has now taken full control, and the parents, and he turns Antonio Banderas into a flu.
A Foogly.
Foogly.
A Foogly, sorry.
Yeah, and he uses Junie's drawing that he had on his person to get the design.
I want to make the point that this is like body horror. It's like The Fly. It's like The Thing.
Yeah, that's pretty terrifying.
Yeah. Pretty bad.
So Minion's taken over, and he contacts Mr. Lisp and says, your army's ready, come and get it. And this is when we see that, Mrs. Gridenko, Terry Hatcher, is working with Minion. So I'm like, they seem to have like a romantic relationship. So I don't necessarily think that Floop has infiltrated the entire OSS. It's probably just Mrs. Gridenko.
No, Minion. Well, yeah. So Minion's the bad guy, and he controls Gridenko. Mm. Right.
So the kids meet Floop, and he decides to help them.
Yeah, so Floop got put into the virtual room where basically I'm like getting very much like how it's feeding on his own ego, and he's just sort of trapped in there.
That's why he's like enormous in the room.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I picked up on that.
That makes sense. I like Junie's talk with him in that room, because Junie is kind of incompetent for a lot of that movie. So it's nice to see him being competent and basically talking Floop into helping. He's like, if I let you go, you have to help us. And he's like, what? He's like, no, do it, promise. And he does it.
And then he tells Floop what's missing from his show. It needs kids.
It needs kids. Also, they use the electroshock gum again. They use it like 3 times.
Yeah, that's nice. Usually, like in a Bond movie, you have the gadget and you use it like once and then throw it away. This one, they actually continue to use the same gadget.
So that reminds you of a story of our brother, Alanna and my brother Matt, who's also on Tuesday Night Gaming, #plug, is he went to see Skyfall with one of his friends back when Skyfall came out. And the friend was like, don't you think it's a little convenient how every gadget Bond gets in the beginning he uses exactly once in the rest of the movie? And Matt was like, have you not seen a James Bond movie before?
Also, a lot of those movies film the Q scenes as one of the last, well, at least in the 60s and 70s, they used to film the Q scenes as one of the last scenes so that they could make up a bunch of gadgets as they needed them and then film that scene later.
Well, that's smart.
Oh, that is smart.
It's like running the camera backwards, but on a macro scale.
Yeah.
Didn't License to Kill, I remember talking about this, that he got a gadget that he ended up not using.
Yeah.
It was like a laser gun or something. Okay, anyway.
No, yeah.
So the kids meet up with the parents pretty quickly and transform Antonio Banderas back pretty quickly as well.
So Carmen and her mom have a scene through the bars, and Floop's trying to like unlock it with the keys, and she just takes an acid crayon, great gadget, and just like cuts through the bars to get her out.
Cool.
And so this is where we find out when she's cutting class, she's like going on ferry rides and going to Belize. What?
What a badass. Does what she wants.
Yeah. But then the mom's like, do you not want to be part of this family? And she's like, no, I do.
So I guess that's resolved.
That's her character development. Yep.
Yeah.
So
we cut back to Minion, and he's meeting with Lisp, and I love Floop had this ridiculous hand chair, and Minion was like, I do not know how to sit in this chair.
Lisp has the same problem too.
Mm-hmm.
He can't get comfortable in it either later.
Oh, yeah, that's where Floop does the voiceover. Like, there's a huge problem
Except
in
it's
the
not Floop.
factory. Oh, it's not Floop.
That's all Junie.
Oh yeah.
So Minion gets called away to the Floop's office, and we find out that it's Junie mimicking Floop's voice. Cutting back that skill from before. And they put Minion in the Foogly Maker, and I think I only realized it this time. So it only works once you let go of the button. So they didn't necessarily mean to like, oh, we're definitely going to turn you into this. It's like, all right, here, hold on to this, and it's like it's like a bomb. Like you hold on to the bomb until and if you let go, it explodes.
It's like a dead man switch.
Yeah.
Well, also Antonio Banderas has like clay, and he like uses the clay to make something. It's like is that part of the machine?
Yeah, Floop was doing that the whole movie.
Yeah,
right.
That's why he was able to use the photo that they scanned to make it like it basically used clay or whatever to.
It like doesn't work unless you have like an end product. The machine doesn't know what to do. Maybe.
Sure. Okay. So meanwhile, Floop is working at like this computer. Not much to say about here, except he's like, I hope I'm not too late. And then all the screens say too late. So that was funny.
So they need to reprogram all of the robots so that they don't carry out all their missions, basically.
Yeah, I like the screens all saying too late.
The kid robots come back for round 2 with their counterparts.
Oh, yeah.
Then the only thing I have a brief scene where it's Fisk talking to Minion after Minion's been... so first we get Terry Hatcher with her hair partially burned off.
Mm-hmm. Wait. Are you talking about the fight scene with the little kids? So no. There's another gadget when they're fighting.
Oh, yes.
I thought that was later.
You thought it was happening now.
Okay, fine. We can talk about it now.
Okay. So they fight their robot counterparts again, and this time they can talk. And the robot car is like super mean to Junie.
It's like psychological warfare.
Because they can talk now.
Yeah, and she like punches a block, and it like blows up, and then he tries to punch the block, thinking it'll work, and it doesn't. They eventually defeat them using cement,
which is silly string.
That's silly string. Yeah.
But don't they just tear through it pretty quickly?
It slows them down.
Yeah, it slows them down. It's not stopping them.
So I feel like the scene where Junie finally realizes that he has self-worth is like the emotional climax of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, as we were getting at the scene with Minion and Terry Hatcher and Lisp, Terry Hatcher is like partially her hair is like burned off, which is supposed to be funny. I just found it like scary.
Yeah, I don't know why she wouldn't just wear a wig.
Or just have it all shaved off.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, she's a spy. I think she probably has wigs.
She sort of looks like Sid's Barbie in Toy Story.
Pixar movie. So then also in the scene with Minion, how he has multiple hands. He has like 2 hands sticking out the side. If you look closely, he's very clearly wearing gloves.
Yeah.
You can like see the gap between his actual hand and the glove itself.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the parents and the kids... Wait, the parent... I don't remember how the parents get to the control room, but there's an off-screen fight.
They just run in.
They just get captured again?
Yeah,
right.
They get captured again, but and brought to the main hall, but they easily get out of it. So I think even though they get captured a lot, they're very good at escaping.
It's like a classic Doctor Who character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they beat up all of Terry Hatcher's Smash Mouth minions off screen.
Yeah, well, it is. I like it's a good setup gag. It's the he says, kids, I don't want you to see this, and close their eyes, and then I think you just focus. Screen doesn't go dark. You just focus on them closing their eyes,
right?
And then you hear off screen all these sounds of punches and kicks and being pain, and then you have the parents just sort of there with all the Smash Mouth minions laying down, fallen down and unconscious.
Yeah, but I kind of wanted to see a Robert Rodriguez fight scene.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like Indiana Jones where they were going to fight it, but then everyone was feeling sick. So they were like, this is how the kids close their eyes, and we'll cut it.
And yeah, so the family's all together, and then there's, they see this rush of all these robot kids coming in, and Gregor's like, all right, I've got it. And I'll take, the 100 on the right. Ingrid, you take the 100 on the left. Junie, you take the 100 in the middle, center left. And Carmen, you take the 100 on the center right. And Carmen's like, that still leaves 100 of them. There's 500 total. And in comes Machete through the window.
Yeah,
Perfect
Machete.
timing. I like how she's like, oh no, there's not enough people, as opposed to I can't fight 100 super strong robot children.
Yeah, you can defeat one
by
of
myself.
them, and yet somehow you're okay with defeating 100.
So they're all ready to fight, but then the kids just show up and start not actually, they just ignore the family, but they start throwing around the bad guys.
Yeah, because Floop succeeded in teaching them right from wrong.
And so they're like, they're throwing around the bad guys. Not like trying to attack them or anything, but just like throwing them up in the air like if they were on a giant trampoline, basically. And I like Lisp is saying, can't you do anything? Shut them down. It's like, nope, they're self-autonomous now. And everything you say goes one ear in one ear and out the other.
Just like real kids, am I right? Alanna also had an observation that Lisp's suit is very 90s as well.
Yeah, well, it's not just him. There's a couple of people. Like Minion's also wearing a suit.
Oh, when he have a suit, yeah.
Yeah, and they're kind of baggy and like the tie's kind of wide.
Yeah. So the two brothers make up. Gregorio and Machete.
Yeah. They don't even
I guess we never learn his real name.
Yeah, they don't remember what they were mad about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to, is it a few months later? Or is it an unclear amount of how much? I think it's unclear how much time has passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's a news report on like these kid robots doing good deeds, and like no one knows who they are, except aren't these supposed to be the kids of world leaders? So wouldn't someone recognize them?
Yes. It's so strange. And do you think they're going to deal with that in the sequels? No. I do like in this part how it shows a robot kid pulling a firefighter out of a burning building with one arm.
Yeah.
That was pretty sweet.
And the Cortezes have a thumb helping out in the kitchen, which I liked. Just because I like the thumbs.
I guess you got to do something with them.
And then after the news report, it switches to Floop's show, and Floop it seems less weird and psychedelic and more an actual kids show. And he has the robot kids of Junie and Carmen on the show.
Do they still have that creepy eye glint?
Yeah.
And then we have Devlin calling. Devlin, head of the OSS, calls with a mission, and it's George Clooney.
So I theorized that George Clooney and Robert Rodriguez first, they're friends because he was also in From Dusk Till Dawn that Robert Rodriguez directed.
Yeah.
That's probably how they were able to get him.
But yes, and he has like the censored bar over his eyes, and like so as he's giving them a mission, and Gregorio and Ingrid think the mission's for them, and they say that he takes the censored bar off his eyes somehow. And this is actually for Carmen and Junie.
Which is like what?
Because they're the best agents they have, and then Carmen's like
small people.
Maybe And Carmen's like, if you want the Cortezes, you get all of them.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
and that's the movie.
That's the movie. Although I wanted to go back for a sec because we skipped over it. When Carmen falls through the bottomless pit, she lands in the the thumb making area.
Oh, the lady thumb.
Yeah, the sexy voice thumb is so weird.
I don't know why that was there.
It was like they're like a thumb society of like women thumbs. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. I didn't have that written down, but nice one. So then the credits have like a spy. Yes, there's a post scene. There's an after-credit scene, but also the credits have like a Spy Kids music. I don't remember how it goes.
It's just super 90s. Yeah.
So you want to describe the after-credit scene?
Oh, the after-credit scene is just shots of the hallway in Floop's castle. It's just the hallways.
That's weird.
It's like the camera on a dolly just goes through the hallway for like 15 seconds.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless there was something really subtle in there that we like missed.
Yeah, but I don't think so.
All right, and that is the movie. So now it's time for Spy Fact versus Spy Fiction.
All right, so the only thing that we have for Spy Fact versus Spy Fiction is the OSS. So in the movie, if I remember, I think it's revealed in the second or third movie that OSS in this world stands for Organization of Secret Spies.
Super Spies.
Or Super Spies, yeah.
Super Spies. Yeah.
OSS in real life, though, stood for the Office of Strategic Service. It was the predecessor to the CIA. It operated in World War II. But yeah, it stopped operating once the 1945, once CIA sort of got up and running. So OSS, as far as we know, does not still exist.
Well, I like to think that in this universe, it like just kept going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think the CIA also exists, or is it just
Nope.
it just stayed OSS?
It's just stayed OSS. I think that's a lot cooler.
Oh, yeah. Did we have favorite quotes?
Yeah, we did. I can do mine first.
Okay.
So it's in the middle. Minion says to Floop, "You're spending too much time on the show when you should be focusing on our diabolical plan."
Syndication?
The show is more important.
And Alanna, do you have yours?
Yeah, so it's kind of like I like the context of it, I guess, where the kids arrive at Machete's store and they meet Machete, and he's sort of, he's kind of intimidating looking. And he says, I'm your uncle. And Junie's like, our real uncle? Because you already got a fake uncle. Very sassy.
Did Felix ever come back, by the way, at the end?
No.
He's in the second movie, I think.
Okay. By the way, apparently Felix is played by Cheech Marin.
Oh yeah.
But he's not of a generation that we're not.
I would not have recognized him. Yeah.
We're not a target audience for Cheech Marin stuff.
Yeah.
All right, and mine. Well, so I really like the one that we did at the beginning. My parents can't be spies; they're not cool enough. But I also really like the last one, the last line in the movie: "Spy work, that's easy. Keeping family together, that's difficult, and that's the mission worth fighting for."
Oh, you love that corny stuff.
So
yes, I do.
Easy. I just wanted to say, I don't know if there's like a wrap up part, but they never resolve what happens to the agents that got turned into Fluglies.
They don't, but in the second movie, the one that Donegan, the one who's the newest one,
yeah,
he reappears. So we assume that all of them get changed back.
Well, also for those of us who don't see the sequels, they turn back Antonio Banderas. So if they can turn back one person, they can turn back others.
Right.
Okay, well, now it is time for our ratings on a scale of 1 to 10 martinis. 1 being absolutely terrible, 10 being really good. It is hard to rate kids' movies because we are not the target audience for it, but we're going to do our best anyway. Anyone want to go first?
No.
I'll go.
Okay.
So wait, what year did this come out?
2001.
2001. So I was... Well, let's not say I was slightly above the target audience when this came out, but I did enjoy it at that time, and I still thought it was a lot of fun. Obviously, it's not your hardcore, hard-hitting spy movie, but it's a cute, fun movie, and I'm going to give it a solid 6 out of 10.
Okay, I can go next. So I did not see it when it came out. So watching it yesterday was the first time that I had ever seen it. Though, of course, I was aware of it. Like I mentioned to Alanna that, how come they're not wearing any armored suits? She said that's the sequel. But it held my attention. It didn't go on too long. I liked the adults in it. I liked the all-star cast. There weren't that many cringeworthy moments, which often happens in kids' movies. So I will give it an 8 out of 10 martinis.
Wow.
It's a kids' show. Considering it's a kids' movie, I thought it was really solid.
Okay.
Yeah. So I probably was most into this movie when it came out, being 9 or 10. I think I even had like Spy Kids like merch. I think I had like sunglasses. I think I might have even had like probably like an off-brand Spy Kit of stuff. Maybe I was like really into Spy stuff.
I don't remember you ever being into it.
I remember having a Spy Kit stuff with like a decoder and like a flashlight. I had stuff, whatever.
Okay.
It's good stuff. This movie, I really like. I kind of noticed more like adult stuff into it, obviously as an adult, but also because I knew it was by Robert Rodriguez. So you kind of notice more of his influence. Anyway, I liked it. I'm also giving it an 8.
You made out 10 martinis. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. You can find us on social media at the Spy-Fi Guys under Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Until next time, I'm Zach.
And I'm Christian.
And that's Alanna.
Okay.
And we are the Spy-Fi guys signing off.
Thank you for listening to the Spy-Fi Guys. If you enjoyed our podcast, please be sure to give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. The theme song from this podcast is Mistake the Getaway by Kevin MacLeod from Incompetech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. Films, books, and television shows reviewed by our podcast are the intellectual property of their respective copyright holders, and no infringement is intended.
This is a personal podcast. Any views, statements, or opinions expressed in this podcast are personal and belong solely to the participants. They do not represent those of people, institutions, or organizations that the participants may or may not be associated with in a professional or personal capacity unless explicitly stated. Any views or opinions are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, or individual.
You can find our podcast on social media at The Spy-Fi Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.